Hello everyone and welcome to the Thanos review. Now if you do want to check out the unboxing video, there will be a card on the screen or a link in the description below. So just click on those and head on over there. I'm just going to leave the box spinning right now because I do want to plug a few people. So first of all, check out Justin's Collection and King Zachary V on YouTube. And also check out the group that they created, Justin's Collector group on Facebook. And finally check out the very awesome podcast that they created, the Mint in Seal Box podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Links to all those will be in the description below. So now that plugging time is over, I'm just going to get straight into his accessories. Now Thanos doesn't come with much, but what he does come with is already more than enough for his character. We will start off first with his hands, and he does come with a few selections of them. He comes with one right grasping hand, a right fisted hand, and a right open palm. Now all these hand sculpts do maintain the same level of detail as you would expect, and they have perfectly replicated his skin texture. Now it does come with two left arms. This one is the one that articulates. There is also one that is fixed in the flexed position, so you can have him in more dynamic poses without risking the rubber here. So I'm not going to show that now. I'll show that later on because I've got that on the figure right now, and swapping them out is a pain because these joints are kind of tight. Now speaking of the joints, they are on very strong ratchets, so they will hold any pose that you put them in. The joints are ratcheted in the shoulder and here in the elbow. Now obviously with rubber arms, it is recommended that you do not leave them bent for prolonged periods of time, as you will risk cracking the material. Now the gauntlet here comes with two display options, one with the fixed fist and this one here with the articulated fingers. Both options are of equal quality, and the paintwork on these are excellent. Much better compared to the 1/4 scale gauntlet, as I find that color scheme to be a bit more orangey compared to this one, where the gold color that they have used is a lot more rich. Plus the details on this gauntlet are very well sculpted, as you can see, the recessed parts in particular. There is also some paint speckling effect to replicate weathering / battle damage. If you're wondering if you can get his hand to make a snap position, you can't, because the fingers do not articulate that far down. As you can see, they don't move any further down than that for this top section. So the best you can do is to use the camera angle and just have it like that, but they will not touch because the joints will not allow that at all. So this time we have two head sculpts, this neutral expression and his angry expression. The likeness to Josh Brolin is superb on both of these head sculpts. And once again, Hot Toys has knocked it out of the park with their head sculpts. The same skin texture detail is continued over from the hands and the arm to this sculpt, and they have included some stubble detail in the chin, as you can see. Now taking a closer look at the angry head sculpt here, this is one that is perfect for recreating some dynamic poses. The teeth do have a bit of a gloss coat to them, and the wrinkles and expression are very well sculpted. You can also see that the scars on his face are a little bit recessed. Included with the base are two graphic display card options. One of them is of Titan and the other is of the Infinity Gauntlet. The base itself is quite large, and I don't see myself using it because after 2 days of owning this figure, I can say that he stands pretty well on his own. And you can also attach the clear rod and the crotch cradle to the base if you feel that he will topple over. Just something to take note of, he doesn't come with a metal nameplate, but rather a decal in the place of the nameplate. So I have installed the batteries on this arm, so I'll just quickly show you how that works. You remove this cover piece and the batteries are included, so you put 3 of them in that little slot, turn it on, and that is how it looks with all the lights on. It is one single white light in the middle. These ones all look quite good, but then this one, the time stone is kind of dim, Understandable, because the bulb is right underneath the Mind Stone, and that is quite far away. But then this is an awesome look, and I am glad that Hot Toys have decided to have a light up feature. We'll start at the top and then we will progress downwards. I'll try and get a full body shot with the box and some other figures so you do get a sense of scale. But anyways, his shoulder and chest armor is made of a lighter shade of gold than the gauntlet. And there is some weathering and darkening on the gold chest armor, as you can see there. And this perfectly replicates how he looked at the start of the film, but not at the end of the film where it did get a lot more battered. His vest is made of a PVC type plastic, so it's not material, it's not fabric. And because it is PVC, you do get some excellent sculpt detail, and you do get ab crunch because PVC is slightly flexible. When we turn him around to the back, you can see that the level of detail is consistent throughout. Something to point out is on the vest, there are some lighter blue sections blended in with the darker blue, and I'm guessing this is supposed to be some very light wear and tear as a result of wearing his armor. I think the fact that Hot Toys included this second arm for us was a very good move on their part, as us as collectors, we can have Thanos pose as if he is using the gauntlet, which looks as if it was pulled straight from the movie itself. This works very well with most poses, and I will be displaying him with this arm, but I'll just say that the joint there was very stiff, and I did have quite a hard time pulling the arm out. And just to reiterate, this arm also comes with a gauntlet, and you can interchange the hand pieces with that articulated hand. When we pan downwards to his pants, they are made of a fabric material, meaning that there should be no concerns over wrinkling or creases, and articulation of the thighs is not blocked by the costume, rather it is blocked by the limits of the body itself. Now I will say this does go up 70 degrees, which is pretty good for a figure this size. Now speaking of articulation, the legs also use ratchet joints. Similar to the arms, the whole figure is so big that they have to use ratchet joints, and these are very strong. They make a very loud click as you move them, so don't be afraid if it's going to topple over or it won't hold a pose, because I can assure that it will. Now the belt also uses the same gold coloring. I've panned around to the back so you can't see the front of the belt, but it does use the same gold coloring as the shoulder / chest armor, and it is also very slightly weathered. They have put some paint speckling effect on that. Now finally, for this view, you can see that the PVC on the back of his vest is sculpted in a way to represent wrinkling. The boots are also sculpted of plastic, and joy of joys, they have used a split boot design. Now Hot Toys does seem to be going back and forth on whether or not they do want to use a split boot design, but I am very glad that they have chosen to use that on this figure. Now if we take a closer look at the top section of the boots, you can see that here they have weathered the gold a lot, which is a thumbs up from me, as one of my slight nitpicks with this figure is that there isn't enough weathering. To conclude, this figure is definitely a must-have for any Avengers display. Some good points about this figure are the head sculpts, the screen accurate and detailed costume, and the gauntlet is just a marvel to look at. A few points of contention or nitpicks. There isn't enough weathering. Now I know Hot Toys may have had the aim to replicate how he looked at the start of the film, but nearing the end of the film he did look a lot more battered and a lot more battle hardened in terms of his costume, so I do wish that they had replicated that, but this still looks very screen accurate. Another nitpick is the rubber arms, but we as collectors, we all know the deal with the rubber arms. There's nothing we can do about that now, and visible joints do look very unsightly. The immense size of the whole figure will definitely make it the centerpiece of your Infinity War collection, as he towers over your other figures. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And again, check out Justin's Collector Group on Facebook, Justin's Collection and King Zachary V on YouTube, and the Mint in Seal Box podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I will catch you in the next review.